Hey guys, this is Josh from SIBO Survivor. In this episode, I'm super excited to bring you an amazing guest. Her name is Shivan Sarna. She's the creator of the SIBO SOS Summit, and she's doing some amazing work. I had a really cool chance to sit down and talk to her about, her journey with SIBO ever since she was 5 and developing it after drinking rotten milk and from gastroenteritis. What's really helped her, what her diet looks like, and also an insider scoop on the summit and also breaking news towards the end. This is an episode that's loaded with amazing information, and I think you'll find some value out of it. Let's get it rolling. Hey guys, I'm joined by Shivan Sarna tonight, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you guys and just kind of go through her story and also get into what she's up to now, because she's doing some amazing things. And so Shivan, thanks so much for joining me. And for anyone who doesn't know you, can you just give a little brief introduction and kind of go over what you're doing?
Sure, Josh. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. Shivan Sarna here. I am a TV host. That's what I've been doing for the past 18 years. But I'm also a SIBO patient, probably since the age of 5. Anyway, I wanted to write a book about my SIBO experience because I just got diagnosed about 4 years ago. And I was like, not really. I mean, I could be a writer, but I'm more of a talker.
Yeah.
So I have a video background, and I have friends in the industry and stuff. So I'm an online learner, and I love summits. So I created the SIBO SOS Summit series with Dr. Allison Seebecker as my colleague in the project. And in June, we launched one SIBO SOS series Part 1, and we had just an incredible response, 100,000 views, people from all over the world listening to the 20 experts that I had. And then there was so much information I still needed to get out that I'm doing another SIBO SOS Summit Part 2. And that is launching on, October 21st. That's the Saturday, depending on when you're watching this. And that's going to be epic.
Yeah.
Hear me. Epic. There are 40 speakers, over 70 videos. It's intense. So that's what's been going on. That is free if you do get there between October 21st and the 29th. You can buy it if you want to, but not essential. If you want it for free, be there during those days. And it's so interesting that I still have questions and still have people I want to talk to. So we are doing a third one, the last in the series, in April of 2018, and then on to the SIBO documentary.
Amazing. And guys, I can just personally say that I attended the first one. I bought it. It was amazing. Tons of valuable information and lots of amazing experts to check out in that series. So just so anyone knows. So I want to dive a little bit more into your personal story with the condition. So can you just kind of take me back to the lowest point where you really came down with this, and what did that look like for you?
Well, I've had it, like I said, probably since I was 5. That started with the food poisoning back then, because I drank the milk of a cow that wasn't homogenized. I was on a field trip on the farm, and we were like milking the cow, and then everybody like took a sip, and oh my gosh, I got so sick.
Oh, man.
And then just a whole series of gastritis or food poisoning or whatever. Anyway, so fast forward, I've lived my life with I'm not a fat person, I'm not skinny, but I mean, I'm a normal sized woman. And as I was growing up, I was skinny, and I always had this little belly, but it wasn't fat. It wasn't. I was just like, I would press on it. I'm like, oh, boinga, boinga, boinga. And we called it the Buddha belly. I'm sorry, Buddha. I love you. And basically, I don't know what was the trigger to really have me deteriorate, honestly. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I can't believe I'm saying that it's that long ago, I just really started to feel bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. Anyway, journey. Had a friend who also wasn't feeling good, and we were sharing gastroenterologist stories, and she's like, oh, I'm on this crazy antibiotic. It's so intense. They had me breathe into a bag, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And like, I'm walking by her at her desk and she's like telling me, and I'm like going this, I'm like, well, who's your guy? You know, anyway, I got the test and it was a false negative.
Okay.
So there's the test. Scratched out is the word positive and written the word negative. So someone had misinterpreted it.
Interesting. So that kind of leads me into, what kind of a doctor did you seek out? And you said that the test came back a false negative. Like, how did you what did you do after that,
Well, I wrote it off. I wrote off SIBO and figured, this is what I said to myself. I said, I'm not surprised. No one knows what's wrong with me. I probably will never know. I was just very like, no, I mean, how many other tests had I taken that didn't have conclusive evidence? So a diagnosis. So it was, I mean, I don't know, discouraging. But I also I was hedging my hope because I didn't want to get my hopes up and then just to be disappointed again. Anyway, what happened was I left my GI doctor that was really great at scoping, but he's in his retirement phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a guy who's Michael Schulman in Largo, Florida. And when I was introduced to him, like verbally, like, hey, you need to go to this guy. She said, he's like a medical detective. And I had my appointment and I was there for 2 hours. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she got me in. That's really important. Like, my friend called there and said, can you guys take on Shivan Sarna? And so that little referral got me into one of the busiest doctor's practices here. Anyway, he did spend 2 hours with me, and he's like, hey, you know what? I know that it says here in the compiled notes from your other doctor, it's just little shorthand notes. It says the SIBO test was negative, but I just want to see it.
Yeah.
Not only that, let's retest you. I was resistant. I was like, oh, no, because that test is yucky, and
yeah.
I just wanted him to like actually blurt out whatever was wrong with me and give me the magic pill. Obviously that doesn't happen. Anyway, so I retested and lo and behold, I had wasted 18 months of time not knowing what was wrong with me. So
wow.
I've got other things going on like candida and yeast, Epstein-Barr, Lyme, all kinds of fun stuff.
Interesting. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of people, they don't really know about it at the beginning, and they see sometimes a conventional gastroenterologist, and they don't really know that much about it, so it's kind of really hard to discover what you're actually dealing with, and that's part of the problem. So you said it took about 18 months to kind of figure out that you actually were dealing with maybe SIBO. Like, how long did that take until you realized that?
Well, 18 months after that first test, Dr. Schulman had me take a second one, and there it was positive. And I took my rifaximin for 2 weeks, and I was high hydrogen. And by the time my rifaximin was done, I was high methane.
Interesting.
And I talked to Dr. Seebecker, and she said that's very uncommon, but it does happen. So I've had one negative SIBO test, but my symptoms didn't really change.
Yeah.
And then I had a positive one for methane. But we can't really figure out some of my symptoms and why they haven't gone away. But we're working on it.
Really interesting. It's like most people know, it's such a complex condition and still so uncertain. That's why, there's so many questions, right? That's why the SOS seminar is so important, because basically we have all these different minds working together to kind of bridge these gaps and try and figure out like what the issue is. That's why it's so important.
Important.
Yeah. So when did you start to see some improvement in your health? Like, what treatments, supplements, or what actually started to help you?
What started to help me? Let's see. That's a great question. I actually got worse before I got better, not because of anything I did like to make my I took this herb and I got worse.
Yeah.
It just deteriorated to the point of where I was getting migraines. There was a period of 2 weeks where I got a migraine almost every day, and I was just praying, going, I don't know how I could possibly sustain this. And fortunately it cleared. But what helped me? Visceral manipulation absolutely has helped me.
Yeah.
And I found an amazing person who teaches it, And unfortunately, she's moving to Australia. All you Australians, lucky you. I don't know if she's still in practice, but that has helped me so much. And then and just whole central nervous system.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really helped me, Josh, is low dose naltrexone.
Okay.
Not as a prokinetic, but as an anti-inflammatory,
Okay.
and good for your head. And it's just, that has been a miracle pill for me. Like, I would love to have had that on my first day. I'm like, oh my God, miracle. Because it reduced my fibromyalgia like symptoms by 90%.
Wow.
I had to try it a couple of times before I took and I understood how to take it and that kind of thing and how it worked in my body, but it's definitely worth investigating.
Interesting. And that's a good point to note, because a lot of people, I think it's important to realize too that it's a lot, oftentimes it's more than bacteria, right? Like, we're dealing with SIBO, but like you said, there's other things like visceral manipulation or, other medications besides just treating the bacteria that are really helpful for people. And I think that's important for people to remember too.
Absolutely.
So a good question I like to ask is, what does your diet look like? I think everyone goes through that phase of like, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Like, I'm just curious, what is your diet like?
Yeah. Well, I'm a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since the 80s, probably like the year you were born or something. Anyway, I do eat 24-hour yogurt that I make myself, which is hysterical because I'm not really a cook.
Yeah.
Got the yogurt maker, the whole bit, and it's great. I was very resistant to it at first, but oh my gosh, I'm so in love with it. I make a lot of soup.
Okay.
And then I drink the broth of that soup, which sounds like ugh, but I have a homemade bouillon that I make that's SIBO friendly, and then in a Ziploc bag I put carrot puree, which has carrots and a little bit of coconut milk, sliced zucchini, a chunk of leek, a half a beet, and maybe a little potato, and some spinach maybe, and then I put it in there, put the water in, I go take a shower, take care of the cat and all that jazz, come back 20 minutes later, and it's this amazing soup. Awesome. And then I don't eat the veggies, I just drink the broth, and that's really helped. That's Wow. Not enough to sustain me, obviously, but I do hard-boiled eggs, I do eat eggs, and some cheese, and Dr. Seebecker and I had dinner the other day, and she made it. She made the dinner, and this shocked me. She served boiled green beans, carrots with a couple of those little potatoes. And I've never liked green beans, but yeah. I loved these green beans.
Wow.
She has a story about her aunt or someone or grandmother who boiled her veggies, and she's always boiled them ever since. And they were delicious. So I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna have to try boiling now. Sounds like a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a revelation.
Wow. And then, so, I mean, everyone has those, like, cheat foods or guilty pleasure foods.
Oh.
Is there any, like, what are a couple of foods that, you eat occasionally?
Oh, yeah. So, first of all, don't ever, ever, ever eat one of these. Because you won't stop. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. They're the Amy's brand little vegetarian gummies that come in the little baggies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but it sounds interesting.
They're sweetened with fruit juice, and they're marketed kind of to kids. It's like a gummy bear, but it's vegan. And oh my gosh, those things are so good. So that's a guilty pleasure. It doesn't sound very exciting, does it? I'll eat some chocolate now and then. I do miss pizza.
Yeah.
I'm salivating just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, sometimes if I see a brownie or something, I'm not really into that, but at some point I just said, you know what? I can only do so much.
Yeah.
And to really avoid burnout, I'm not as strict on the diet as I used to be.
Yeah, and that's the reason I asked this question, is just because, like, I went through that phase like a lot of people do, where they're just super strict about what they eat. But I think over time you realize that, like, some of the joy of eating is the pleasure of it too, and that does help your health, even if you do it every once in a while. That's why.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, how much do you think you've improved since you really, you're at that point where you didn't know what was going on, right? And now you've kind of learned about it. You've kind of, changed your diet, worked with some good doctors. Like, have you seen some good improvement?
Absolutely. I would say I'm probably 75% improved.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's a lot. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think anyone, if they can get even 60% better, that's a miracle for most people.
50% better.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
amazing for so many of us. Yeah.
So, I mean, that gives us hope, and that's, I love it. So, what advice would you give to someone who's maybe watching and is going through a tough time? Maybe they're, seeking a new doctor, or they're just trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, what would you tell someone like that?
It takes persistence. It takes a lot of mental energy. It takes being organized, because SIBO is a complicated condition, and you're going to get a lot of medical records, and you're going to have to keep the supplements and the routine and all that. And I think when people get ill or have a chronic condition, we don't really think about that.
Yeah.
But that is some advice I have for you. And I would say to be persistent. That's my secret superpower.
Yeah.
Persistence. And go into those Facebook groups. Ours is great. SIBO SOS Virtual Summit 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's help, there's hope, there's community. And I hear this word community, and I used to be like, what? Kidding me? What? And I would picture like a little village and the baker and and the painter, like everybody did their own thing. Okay. This is real, guys. You will find help in that community.
Yeah.
You will be able to find other doctors in your area, or Skype with a naturopath in Portland or something, where they all seem to have clustered, the SIBO specialists. So definitely get some support, be persistent, and study. You have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah, I totally agree. It's more of a journey, right? Healing doesn't happen overnight, and like you're saying, like, you do need support. So, get in a group, find people who can, be positive in your life, because it's really a challenging time. So, and then last, I just wanted to kind of learn a little bit more about the SIBO SOS and kind of, so I know you kind of briefly described it at the beginning, but what is it for anyone out there who's watching?
Well, an online summit is kind of like going to a big conference, right? You have different sessions, and they're all day, that kind of thing, only you have to travel. So with the SIBO SOS Summit and other online summits, you get to stay at home, and we deliver the information right to your computer or your smartphone or your tablet. So there are, in this case, 40 speakers, which is mammoth. And then we chop them up into half-hour segments, because the last summit, we noticed that the average view time was 27 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we wanted people to continue watching, and we figured, let's chop it. So there's 70 plus video recordings, including one that is Larry Warren from Clear Passage with a massage table with a woman. She's totally draped, of course, but he's doing the visceral manipulation technique that Clear Passage is so famous for. And then he has a guided visualization that takes you through the body. And it's amazing. It's so cool. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the summit works. It gets delivered to your inbox. These like 5 or 6 different video interviews that I did with all of these professionals or patients that have success stories. And then you can watch it for free for 48 hours. And then the next day, another batch comes in. You can watch those for free for 48 hours, and on for the 9 days. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'll never forget my first summit. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to leave the house. And I could never have access to some of the people that had been interviewed in that summit.
Oh, for sure.
And also, this is so cool, is that a lot of the people that I interviewed are clinicians that are not famous, right? Mm. But they are in the trenches with SIBO patients like 24/7. And just to have them share their wisdom and their knowledge and their experience was such a blessing.
Yeah, so amazing. And like you said, just being able to, get the knowledge from doctors like that who have worked with so many patients, right? Like on your laptop, you can sit on the couch and watch it and learn something so that you can improve your health. I'm a huge fan. So
Thank you.
I just want to learn. So I know it's so much hard work to produce this and to create it. And so what was your motivation, for doing this?
Well, I didn't want my SIBO journey to be a waste because I'm savvy and I had good insurance, and if I was having a hard time with it, then I knew 100% that other people who don't have computer skills, who don't have good insurance, who don't have some disposable income, I knew that they were struggling even more than I was. And I'm already into health food because I was a yoga teacher for 10 years and all that. So if they're going off the sad American diet and, they're moving into this, oh my gosh, my heart just went out to everybody. And I didn't want to waste my experience. So I was going to write that book. And then it turned into the summit because I asked Dr. Seebecker, like, hey, will you be on my summit? I was so naive at the time, like, oh, this will be easy. No, it's not easy. Anyway, she's like, not only do I want to be in your summit, I want to help. And so I've gone to Portland twice to do interviews, and she's introduced me to her colleagues and talk about a SIBO community. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah. Talk about a dynamic duo. What a great interviewer and team to launch it as well.
Well, thank you so much. As a matter of fact, if you want some breaking scoop, Josh, in January, we are going to be launching the SIBO. Let's see, SIBO. Look, it's so new.
It's a tongue twister.
Allison and I are doing a course for people with SIBO.
Yeah.
It's called the Patient's Recovery Roadmap. That's it.
Awesome.
And we're going to be doing, we already taped it. We already have done all of the legwork, and we're going to be launching that in January. But you can sign up probably right after the summit. I'll start letting people know about it. But it's cool because we're going to do lessons and then Q&A on that lesson. And it's based on Dr. Seebecker's and Dr. Sandberg-Lewis and Dr. Pimentel's algorithm.
Okay.
You've seen it probably. It's a handout that floats around. And it's what to think about at each juncture of, like, oh, negative test, go this way. Positive test, go this way.
Yeah.
And she and I both teach it together. Obviously, she's the technical medical person, and I chime in with my patient experiences and tips and techniques to help you live a better life with SIBO.
Super cool. So
you're the first person to know about it other than Allison.
Yeah, I know. My audience and I am, I think we're pumped to know about that. So, what do you think? One topic from this seminar that's launching, or the second edition, what's one topic that you think people, they just can't miss it? It's just super cool. It's going to be super helpful. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot. It's like asking me which kid's the favorite.
Exactly.
Dr. Steven Sandberg-Lewis, 40 years of gastroenterology, SIBO specialist, all in 1 hour. Dr. Megan Taylor, who works with Dr. Sandberg-Lewis, SIBO in kids. She's a SIBO patient. There are a third of the doctors and people who are the presenters all have SIBO, which is, I get it. You got to heal yourself and take that and heal others. So a favorite, I like Larry Werns for sure. That was really special and totally different. And then they're all great. And I'm not even being biased. I wish I had this resource when I was trying to figure out what was going on. David Wolf is on it. And you guys know David from the NutriBullet promotions, and he's really into longevity and superfood and stuff. So I've known him for several years because of the TV station where he comes and is a guest and where I work. And that was a great interview. I had so much fun. He's like in some log cabin somewhere up in Canada, and he had like a broken toe. And we just sat around and talked about SIBO, and his best friend had SIBO for 3 years. And so he watched her treatment and everything. And he was talking about the 4 R's, and it was a lot of fun. That was a great one.
Cool. So last question here. What do you want people to take away from this summit? What's your hope? And what are your plans in the future?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. Okay, my hope is that everyone watches the sessions and learns from them and then takes action.
Yeah.
Because if you watch those sessions, you will absolutely have more questions, but you'll also move forward if you act on the advice that's there and you'll know what to talk to your doctor about. I'm just going to say it's going to be easy to be overwhelmed. That's why we're giving everyone 48 hours per batch. I really should have split this thing into two summits. Seriously, like the first summit was 20 people. This one's 40. It should have been split in half, but I didn't do that. So that's my hope that it's useful, and it's so cool, Josh. So many doctors, naturopaths, dietitians are involved in the summit. They're like picking it up, and they're registering, and then people from Japan, China, Israel, Malta, Spain,
Wow.
France, Singapore, Israel, Ireland. It's intense.
Yeah.
Dubai. So that's what I want. I want to spread the word worldwide. Oh, China and Japan. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I want to spread the word worldwide. So that's really important to me. And some of these places are so underserved. And that's one of the big goals of the summit as well. And I can't remember the other part of your question. Oh, what's the future?
Yeah.
SIBO SOS Part 3 is going to be airing in April of 2018. I've already done half of the interviews for that. And that's going to be the final in the series. And then we're going to do the course. And then we're going to do a speaker series with Q&A. And Dr. Seebecker's going to do another Q&A in November on treatment. So the last one she did was on diet, and she went 5 hours.
Awesome.
Crazy. So this one's going to be on treatment. No one expect 5 hours again. It ain't happening. But so that's some of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think I'm excited personally just to be able to learn, and I think a lot of people out there are going to get a ton of value and a ton of knowledge out of this and be able to improve their health. I think that's going to be
key.
super cool.
That's it. So it's SIBOSOS.com.
And I'll put a link below this video so you guys can check it out. Personally, I saw it last time. It's amazing. You guys should definitely sign up. And thanks so much, Shivan, for joining me tonight and just kind of giving us a little bit of a insight into your journey.
Oh, thank you so much for your interest and your support, and I'm really excited about the work you're doing as well. Love your website and blog and stuff, and we'll see each other soon. Thanks,
Sounds
everybody.
good. Awesome.